Okay, I wanted to make a short video about all the things that we messed up during the project. Well, not all of them, but the brief highlights. So I want to start with this circuit board here. It looks fairly messy from the front, but if you flip it over, it's awful. And actually, this, all of this isn't, normally when you see this, it's because someone's messed up with the CAD design and you have to reroute everything. But actually, if you look at here, things are just connecting straight through. And it was a problem with the manufacturer of the board. We had it done locally, and almost all the vias have about a 20 ohm resistance, so there was lots of stuff that had to be replaced on that. When we were first thinking about how we were going to keep the battery in the pen holder charged up, we wanted to use an inductive charging thing. They have an inductive coil, and then you put a high frequency square wave through that, and then you pick that up with another coil on the pen holder that can then charge the battery. And there's a nice chip, well, we think it's nice, that does the LiPo charging as well as the handling the RF stuff. So we followed the application note really carefully, made these nice PCBs, and this one never oscillated and gave us completely the wrong frequency, and it's a really simple circuit, so I've got no idea why that happened. And this one, we barely even got the LEDs to come on, and after talking with the Linear guys for a little while, we just gave up on it because it was a waste of time. So this is the new circuit board, and when we were soldering this, we were putting everything through from the front for the through-hole stuff after the SMT stuff, and we accidentally put the headers pointing up instead of down like they need to be, and it probably took 2.5 hours to unsolder it.
Yeah.
It's a bit difficult to hear, but the servo is just making nice small controlled movements and there's no other sounds. And before we had a problem where the servo was jittering and I couldn't work out where it was from, so we put the scope on it and it was mostly fine, and every now and then it was fiddling around. And it was a classic case of using a library without really knowing what it was doing. I was using a software serial library to interface with the XB radio, and that was working on interrupts. We were turning off the interrupts for the servos, and that's why we had the jitter on the servo. So it was Friday night, and I was really pleased because it was working really well, and I thought, oh, I'll just do one more thing. I'll get the 7-segment board and plug that in and get it to show the Z height as it's moving around. And because it was tired and late at night, I thought, oh, I'll just plug it in, what can go wrong? It's just sort of logic and a power supply for the LEDs, and I plugged it in and there was this big bang as the pen holder fell on the floor. And I still don't know why, but plugging that in while it was on broke the beagle bone and it never booted again, so we had to swap in the spare one, at least I had a spare. When we upgraded to the bigger motors, we needed to drill some holes to attach that securely, and unfortunately I made a bit of a mistake there. This is an example of one of the bits that went wrong with the machining after quite a long job. It wasn't held down tightly enough and it shifted a bit, and then everything was out of line and we couldn't chamfer it or to finish off the holes to get the tolerances we need. Managed to set the Delrin on fire a few times in the laser cutter by going too close on too many times. This is how much Delrin we had left, which is a bit of a mistake. We actually needed a lot more. We had to, in the last minute, make some design changes to make the pieces smaller because there wasn't enough. And part of that was due to all the mistakes I was making with the machining, and partly I should have had more material in the first place. I didn't do this one, but these smaller ones here, I did those and broke a bit at the same time, getting the Z depth wrong. And that there was so much material wasted and so much time wasted, a lot of it just due to impatience, wanting to try and get it done faster than was the right time, and making mistakes like that. And here's another bit of off-centre drilling. No excuses.
Okay, and now in the last day I have cut my finger.
Luckily there weren't any lathe accidents, but I hope that you enjoy seeing some of our little failures on the way to making the big drawing robot.